Standing by at the Strategic Development Group studio at the NJCU School of Business is Rhonda Schaffler. Rhonda, things are looking up.
They are, Mary Alice, on the job front for sure. The new year began with a hiring boom. Roseland-based ADP says across the country, companies added 246,000 new workers in the month of January. That was a solid report, better than expected, in fact, and the biggest surge in hiring since last summer. It also bodes well for the government's monthly employment report that will be released on Friday. Meantime, the Federal Reserve says consumer sentiment and business sentiment both improving at its meeting today. The Fed decided to hold interest rates steady for the time being. New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez wants some answers from Wells Fargo. That after the Wall Street Journal reported that bank branch employees were tipped off ahead of visits by internal inspectors, giving them time to shred or even forge documents to try to conceal widespread customer fraud. Now, since then, Wells Fargo has said it has stopped that practice. Senator Menendez sent a letter to Wells Fargo's CEO Timothy Sloan today asking questions about Wells Fargo's internal review system and if he knew what was happening at those bank branches. Customers of South Jersey Gas could be hit with higher bills. The utility has proposed a rate hike. That would mean residential customers would pay on average $20 more a month. On Wall Street, stocks closed higher. The Dow was up 26 points. And those are today's top business stories.
Now to the state of New Jersey business. Standing by at the Strategic Development Group studio at the NJCU School of Business is Rhonda Schaffler. Rhonda, we're ending the week on a high note.
We are indeed, Mary Alice. The government's monthly report on jobs released today confirms what we heard from Roseland-based ADP earlier this week. The new year shows some healthy trends in hiring. In January, the economy added 227,000 new jobs. The unemployment rate rose slightly to 4.8%, but that's because more people were out there looking for work. One downside, though, wage growth was disappointing even after many states increased their minimum wage at the start of the year. President Trump today signed executive orders that will roll back regulations on the financial industry. He will start with a review of the Dodd-Frank Financial Reform Act, which was put in place after the collapse of Lehman Brothers and the $700 billion bailout of big banks in 2008. Supporters of Dodd-Frank say it keeps the system safer and makes banks accountable. Critics say it makes it more difficult for banks to lend money. Also in Washington, Trump continued his meetings with CEOs today. Merck CEO Kenneth Frazier has revealed some details of his recent meeting with the president, saying it was a constructive conversation that focused on easing regulations and making drugs more affordable for patients. Merck also reported a surge in profits in the fourth quarter on strong sales of its cancer and hepatitis C drugs. BMW is the latest automaker to issue a recall to replace potentially dangerous Takata airbag inflators. The recall covers several vehicles made between 2000 and 2003. Faulty Takata inflators are blamed for at least 16 deaths and more than 100 injuries. Path riders in need of a coffee fix will have to wait a little longer. A Starbucks at the Journal Square Path Hub was supposed to open as early as this week, but that's been delayed until May. No worries, though. Jersey City does have 4 Starbucks located downtown. On Wall Street, stocks closed sharply higher with the Dow up 186 points. And that's a look at today's top business stories.
The governor has rejected the bill that did not name a certain casino owner but would have punished him. Standing by the Strategic Development Group studio at the NJCU School of Business is Rhonda Schaffler. Rhonda has full details. Rhonda?
Michael, Governor Christie vetoed a bill that would have punished billionaire investor Carl Icahn for closing Atlantic City's Trump Taj Mahal casino. The bill would have put in place a 5-year suspension of a gaming license for anyone shutting down a casino after January 2016. Christie said the bill represents the legislature at its worst. That bill would have only applied to Icahn. In a letter to lawmakers, Christie called it a transparent attempt to punish the casino owner for making a business decision to shut down. The Taj Mahal closed last fall after a strike by union workers. Shortly after the governor's veto, Icahn told the Associated Press he will now try to find a buyer for the Taj. Your favorite Scarlet Knights team could soon be getting a wardrobe makeover. Sources say Rutgers could sign a deal with Adidas as early as this week that would make the German sportswear company the official supplier of apparel and shoes for Rutgers athletic teams. Sources say the 6-year deal is believed to be worth more than $10 million. Rutgers teams are currently outfitted in Nike gear, and that contract expires at the end of June. Rutgers would not comment on the report. The latest chain to expand in the Garden State is Krispy Kreme. The first of 6 new storefronts will be opening early tomorrow morning in Jersey City. The Southern Hot Donut chain will be opening other stores in Hudson County, along with some in Bergen County. Some of this country's biggest technology companies have filed a legal challenge to President Trump's travel ban. Nearly 100 companies say that ban has inflicted significant harm on American businesses. The legal brief was filed by companies that include Apple, Google, Intel, and Microsoft. On Wall Street, stocks closed modestly lower with the Dow off 19 points. And those are today's top business stories.
Now to the state of New Jersey business. Standing by at the Strategic Development Group studio at the NJCU School of Business is Rhonda Schaffler with news for public workers' pensions. Rhonda?
Mary Alice, New Jersey has one of the most underfunded state pensions in the country, but it's about to get a bit more money. Governor Christie says his last budget proposal will include a pension payment that meets the contribution schedule he already promised to deliver on. Christie said on his monthly radio show that the payment will be a $650 million increase. Last year, the governor announced he would contribute $1.86 billion into the pension system. Even with all that, it is not enough to fill the pension funding gap. Christie is scheduled to give his last budget address at the end of the month. The Penny's Pipeline Company has received approval for a permit needed as it seeks to build a natural gas pipeline from Pennsylvania to New Jersey. The state of Pennsylvania has okayed a water permit for the project, which is required before the federal government grants a license for that planned billion-dollar pipeline, which is facing strong opposition here in New Jersey. The pipeline would run through Hunterdon and Mercer counties. There are some questions today about whether Atlantic City's now closed Revel will reopen this weekend as 10. Owner Glenn Straub has said 10 would open on President's Day weekend, but as of yesterday, Atlantic City says the property still needs a license and health inspections. And even if those applications were received by the city today, Atlantic City's Director of Licensing and Inspection tells the Press of Atlantic City it would be difficult to process them before the weekend. Straub had no comment. What would have been a $48 billion merger in the healthcare industry is no more. Cigna is ending its merger agreement with Anthem and is additionally suing Anthem for close to $15 billion in damages, as well as the cost of a breakup fee. This after the federal government sued to stop the deal, citing concerns over how it would impact consumer prices. This also comes just hours after another major insurer, Aetna, walked away from its $34 billion deal to buy Humana. Mazda is recalling 174,000 vehicles due to faulty seats. Height adjustment links on the seats can break or detach, increasing the risk of car crashes. The recall covers the 2011 Mazda 2 subcompact and the 2010 through 2011 Mazda 3 and Mazda Speed 3 compacts. Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen testified today it would be unwise to wait too long to raise interest rates as the economy continues to recover and there are signs that inflation is on the rise. Traders say that means it's possible the Fed could hike rates as early as March. On Wall Street, once again, stocks marched to record highs with the Dow climbing 92 points. And those are today's top business stories.
Now to the state's business news. Standing by at the Strategic Development Group studio at the NJCU School of Business is Rhonda Schaffler with a huge fine for failure to protect patient privacy. Rhonda?
That's right, Mary Alice. New Jersey's largest insurance carrier, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield, will pay a $1.1 million penalty for failing to protect the private information of its policyholders. Personal information for 690,000 policyholders had been stored on 2 laptops that were stolen from the company's headquarters in Newark, back in 2013. An investigation by the state found the insurance company had not encrypted sensitive data like Social Security numbers and birth dates. That theft led to legislation that required health insurance companies to use encryption software to protect its consumers' information. Governor Chris Christie signed that into law in 2015. Did the country's largest health insurance provider overcharge Medicare by hundreds of millions of dollars? That's what a whistleblower lawsuit against United Healthcare claims. And now that lawsuit has a bit more heft to it. The U.S. government has joined in. The suit was filed 5 years ago, but only unsealed on Thursday. According to the lawsuit, United Healthcare claimed its Medicare patients were sicker than they actually were. Total damages weren't specified in that lawsuit. It all comes down to carrots and condensed soups. Sales of those particular products were weak for Camden-based Campbell's Soup, which reported disappointing quarterly results today. Campbell's Fresh division, which aims to sell healthier foods, saw its sales decline by 8%. That division has had some weakness for a while. It's expected to show continued weak sales for the year. Remember back when airlines used to give you free food on economy flights? Well, Delta is bringing back those free sandwiches on long domestic flights. United and American Air told the Washington Post they too are also considering the idea of bringing back free meals. On Wall Street, the Dow was up a mere 4 points today, but all the major indexes closed the session at record highs. And those are our top business stories for this Friday.
Now to the state's business news. Standing by at the Strategic Development Group studio at the NJCU School of Business is Rhonda Schaffler with a huge fine for failure to protect patient privacy. Rhonda?
That's right, Mary Alice. New Jersey's largest insurance carrier, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield, will pay a $1.1 million penalty for failing to protect the private information of its policyholders. Personal information for 690,000 policyholders had been stored on 2 laptops that were stolen from the company's headquarters in Newark back in 2013. An investigation by the state found the insurance company had not encrypted sensitive data like Social Security numbers and birth dates. That theft led to legislation that required health insurance companies to use encryption software to protect its consumers' information. Governor Chris Christie signed that into law in 2015. Did the country's largest health insurance provider overcharge Medicare by hundreds of millions of dollars? That's what a whistleblower lawsuit against United Healthcare claims. And now that lawsuit has a bit more heft to it. The U.S. government has joined in. The suit was filed 5 years ago, but only unsealed on Thursday. According to the lawsuit, United Healthcare claimed its Medicare patients were sicker than they actually were. Total damages weren't specified in that lawsuit. It all comes down to carrots and condensed soups. Sales of those particular products were weak for Camden-based Campbell's Soup, which reported disappointing quarterly results today. Campbell's Fresh division, which aims to sell healthier foods, saw its sales decline by 8%. That division has had some weakness for a while. It's expected to show continued weak sales for the year. Remember back when airlines used to give you free food on economy flights? Well, Delta is bringing back those free sandwiches on long domestic flights. United and American Air told the Washington Post they too are also considering the idea of bringing back free meals. On Wall Street, the Dow was up a mere 4 points today, but all the major indexes closed the session at record highs. And those are our top business stories for this Friday.
Now to the state's business news. Standing by at the Strategic Development Group studio at the NJCU School of Business is Rhonda Schaffler. Rhonda, the Help Wanted signs out.
They are out, Mary Alice, in Atlantic City, which has seen its share of casino closings and job losses in recent years. But the casinos still standing are hiring. More than 800 full and part-time positions are currently available, according to data from the state. And there are more full-time jobs available now than there were in 2015. But casinos are having trouble finding workers, according to the Press of Atlantic City, possibly due to the fact that out-of-state casinos are hiring experienced casino workers from the shore town. In its heyday, Atlantic City's casino industry employed more than 50,000 people. Now the industry employs less than half that. Toys R Us is laying off 250 workers at its headquarters in Wayne. Published reports say that's about 10 to 15% of the staff there. Toys R Us had a disappointing holiday season with sales at its U.S. stores falling 2.5% in December. The nation's central bankers have dropped the biggest hint yet that interest rates could be increasing as early as next month. Minutes released today from the most recent meeting of the Federal Reserve said rates may be raised fairly soon, potentially at an upcoming meeting. The Fed's next scheduled policy meeting is in mid-March. The Fed would increase rates if it believes the economy is growing at a rate that would heat up inflation. Meantime, mortgage rates have been rising already, but that has not scared off homebuyers. Housing sales rose 3.3% last month. The National Association of Realtors says that's the fastest pace of sales in 10 years. The typical house for sale is on the market for 50 days. Strong demand also pushing up home prices. The median price jumped more than 7% in the past year and now stands at just under $229,000. On Wall Street, stocks closed mixed, the Dow climbing further into record territory with a gain of 32 points. And those are our top business stories for today.
Now to the state of New Jersey business. Standing by at the Strategic Development Group studio at the NJCU School of Business is Rhonda Schaffler. Rhonda, security's not cheap.
It is not, Mary Alice. New Jersey taxpayers have now spent more than $2 million over the past 7 years to pay for Governor Christie's security detail when he travels. That's according to records obtained by the Associated Press. Last year, costs for Christie's security totaled $369,000. That is a big drop from the high of 2015, when taxpayers paid about $614,000 to protect the governor. Expenses were high that year because Christie traveled outside of New Jersey 72% of the year due to his duties as chairman of the Republican Governors Association and his failed bid for the Republican presidential nomination. The tough times continue for some retailers, with JCPenney the latest chain to announce it will close at least 130 stores, or about 13% of its locations. There are 14 JCPenney stores in New Jersey, and we don't yet know if any of them will be closing. The company plans to release its list of stores targeted for shutdown by mid-March. The company will offer buyouts to 6,000 employees and will ramp up merchandise at its remaining stores to try to attract more sales. A toddler swing made by Little Tykes is being recalled after 39 children were injured. The Consumer Product Safety Commission is recalling about 540,000 snug and secure pink swings because the plastic seat can break, causing children to fall. The swings were sold at several retailers, including Walmart and Toys R Us. A Newark court has handed a 5-year prison sentence to a man who was involved in what prosecutors say was the largest ATM skimming operation ever uncovered. In New Jersey and several other states, devices were installed on ATMs that allowed criminals to withdraw millions of dollars from customer accounts at banks that included TD Bank, Wells Fargo, and Citibank. With this court decision, 15 of the 16 individuals charged have now been convicted. In economic news, consumer confidence has dropped for the first time since November's presidential election, but still remains near all-time record highs. And on Wall Street, a big milestone today as the Dow climbed further into uncharted territory with an 11th straight record close. This is the Dow's longest winning streak since 1992. And those are our top business stories for this Friday.
Now to the state's business news. Standing by at the Strategic Development Group studio at the NJCU School of Business is Rhonda Schaffler. Rhonda, big news for Newark.
That's right, Mary Alice. The financial firm with several offices in New Jersey is expanding its presence in the Garden State and bringing lots of jobs to Newark. Broadridge Financial Solutions has signed a lease to open an office at 2 Gateway Center, according to NJ Biz. Broadridge will bring about 1,000 jobs to the city with this move. The company already has offices in 5 other New Jersey locations. Atlantic City's firefighters and state officials in charge of the city's finances are due to face off in court tomorrow over a proposal to make deep cuts to the fire department. A judge will hear arguments on whether he should block the state from laying off 100 firefighters, according to the press of Atlantic City. The state also wants to eliminate some benefits as it seeks to save $14 million this year. The fast food chain Wendy's is planning to have machines replace some of its workers. The company is installing self-order kiosks at 1,000 locations across the country this year in order to save on labor costs, according to published reports. Wendy's has at least 110 locations in New Jersey. There's no word on whether those kiosks will be added here. 2 types of applesauce sold at Trader Joe's stores have been voluntarily recalled after pieces of glass were found in the jars. The recall includes 24-ounce jars of organic unsweetened applesauce and First Crush unsweetened Gravenstein applesauce. Gas prices continue to hold steady in New Jersey. The average price for a gallon of regular at the end of last week was $2.31. Discount prices were as low as $2.05. On Wall Street, another day, you guessed it, another record close for the Dow Industrials, which climbed 15 points today. And those are our top business stories for this Monday.